Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for the midweek message here at Community Church of Mount Pleasant. For those of you that don't know, my name is Rob Milborn, kind of standing in this week. And I'm glad that you can be here with us. We've got a few exciting things coming up. I wanted to talk to you about those first. The first that's coming up this weekend, which is Saturday, the 23rd of April, will be the I Love My City campaign. What this is, if you don't know, is a community works project. We're going to get together and do something for our community. For those of you who are planning on attending that, we will be meeting at Town Hall in Mount Pleasant at 11 on Saturday. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's directly behind the fire department there in Mount Pleasant. We'll be meeting there from 11 to 2. Bring your water, any snacks you might want to bring, and come prepared to work. We're going to spend some time kind of lifting the face of Mount Pleasant with some fire hydrant painting and cleaning up, things of that nature. The following day, Sunday, the 24th at 6 p.m. will be the United Worship. This is going to be a complete concert, basically everyone there solely to worship and praise God and be thankful for the communities that we do have. It's going to be churches from all over. You're going to have Spanish churches, local churches, churches outside of town, rural churches. They're all going to be there to sing God's praise and worship Him. Then the following weekend, guys, get ready because it's the men's breakfast. However, this is going to be our first habitual camp out. I say habitual because I don't want to say annual because that limits us to once a year. So I would say habitual camp out. On the 29th, we're going to meet here that evening, camp down on the property, back towards the wood line, spend some good time fellowshipping, and then wake up the next morning and eat and continue that fellowship. We'll also have a devotion time and prayer time with each other. And then as far as announcements go, that's as much as I have right now. I would like to kind of touch back on last weekend. Last weekend was our 1-year anniversary. We had 3 new gifts in the form of new families that have joined our church, joined this family. We're all very grateful for that. It's amazing to look out each weekend and see that God's will is being done and He's blessing our church with that growth and that expansion, that He can continually drive His will, even just in this small part of the country and in the world. Wanted to send out a special thank you to all those who were involved in the planning of our birthday party, the setting up, and especially the food. I don't know if you guys really paid attention to the amount of food that was there, but it was absolutely phenomenal. It was all very good. So I'm going to go ahead and be the first one to publicly throw out the old school idea of a church cookbook, because there's a few of those things that I have to have your recipe. So be on the lookout for that. Something I wanted to share with you guys this week, which is something that's kind of been working on me, is the way that we perceive people and make judgments based on that perception. The text I'll be using is from Romans. It's actually Romans 12, verse 3, and I'll go ahead and read that to you, and then we'll kind of talk about it. For I say, through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. Some of the key words that jump out to me on that one is grace. And as far as grace is concerned, what that really means is unmerited favor. We as individuals have received grace through our confession of sin and reception of Christ. We've received God's grace to cover all of that. But what we fail sometimes, I think, to remember is that it is a gift. It's something that was given to us. We haven't earned it. We've really done nothing to deserve it. It's an unmerited favor. And that's something that's imparted to all of us. So really, when we see others and we speak to them, or we even begin to think of ourselves as higher than them in one aspect or another, we're failing to realize that we've all been dealt a measure of faith, but we all operate under this umbrella of God's grace, this unmerited favor. And, you continue into the text and it says to not think more highly of himself than he ought to think, but to think soberly. Soberly is without exaggeration. When you say, man, I worked myself to death at the end of the day. Obviously, we know that's an exaggeration because you're still standing here to tell me how hard you worked. But it's the idea of the exaggeration that we impart to our own abilities. I worked so hard at this, or I've done so much for this. We do all of that, again, out of that unmerited favor. See, we operate on a gift. We've earned nothing, therefore we can't really claim any right to favor from others. But to think also soberly is to think of ourselves in that aspect, that we operate completely on God's favor. To say that I'm a better provider than this person, that's not true, because you're not the provider for your family. God is the provider. You're simply the conduit that He's chosen to provide for your family. I'm better at a certain ministry. Again, not necessarily true. You just may be the one that God has set in a place to further grow that ministry to a certain level before it's then parted off to someone else. But to think soberly as God has dealt each one a measure of faith. Again, that's a gift. God has given us all a measure of faith to operate from. So really we've earned nothing. We came in with nothing, and we still operate on a gift, on a free gift that we can't work and earn, and we can never take from others. So keep that in mind when you're spending time with others, and maybe you feel that inclination, that fleshly inclination to judge or to see someone as lower in stature than yourself. We all operate on a gift that none of us have earned, and none of us are truly worthy of having. We all operate on an unmerited favor. So again, I thank you guys for being with us. I apologize it's a short message, but I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you on Sunday.